Rocket game or something, and hopefully I'll look a little better. Well, guys, we're very excited. You know what? I always say when something bad happens, it means that something good is right around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
I never say that, but in this case, it's true because Maitland Ward was supposed to be on last week because of the heat in L.A. Wi-Fi was not working. Not much else was working in L.A. or has for a while. And as a result, we've now got her in studio.
Yes.
Very excited. Let's go to our guest graphics, and we will introduce
We'll bring her in.
talent. Ladies and gentlemen, you first saw her in The Bold and the Beautiful. Then one of Joanne's favorite TV shows, Boy Meets World. And then finally she decided to dispense from the Disney universe and all things that would typecast her and entered a little industry called adult, from whence came her amazing new book called Rated X that details her entire story. Not only is it getting great reviews, it got the best one from my very own co-host.
Oh my gosh, I read it in 2 days.
Loved it.
Oh, good.
Yes.
She is such a huge fan. Ladies and gentlemen, Maitland Ward is in studio.
Hello.
We're so excited.
I'm excited to be here this morning.
Welcome.
So much for joining us.
Thank you.
So let me just rave about your book for a little bit.
Oh.
It has everything I like. I am an actor, and I love hearing other actors' stories about auditions and sort of their life and how they've come up through the business. I also like what I call chick lit, which is essentially like romance books with a little erotica
Yes.
mixed in. And there's some of that in your book too. And a lot of like tricks of the business that like
I love it.
you wouldn't otherwise know. So it was, and your writing is great. There's lots of metaphors, which I love. There's a lot of humor. So it's just really well done. So I highly recommend.
I
appreciate
love
that.
it.
Thank you.
I think we got the cover, but the cover's adorable as well. Well, so great to have you in New York. And
Yes.
by the way, you brought with you actually not obnoxious weather. I can't say anything as far as LA is concerned, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not been great here either. There's
Yeah,
been a
I
lot
heard.
Yeah.
I heard. We brought a little rain.
Yeah, but it's delightful out right now. Apparently it's fall, but it feels like spring. But I mean, and speaking of tricks of the trade, one thing that you mentioned in a recent interview that I saw, I guess I'm making you repeat yourself, but I thought it was fascinating, was back in the soap opera day, a lot of times when two actors were about to do a love scene, they used to, and younger people probably won't even remember this, they'd read penthouse letters.
No, I personally did. Some people on the set did. That was a thing. Actually, the first time I had an orgasm was when a boy on the phone read me a penthouse letter.
Are you serious?
Yes, and I was like overcome by this erotica and these words and everything. So I was like, he didn't even know what happened because he was on the phone, and I was just like, oh, this is what.
That is amazing. Oh my God. I feel like I had a similar experience the first time I read Jaws.
Oh yeah,
That is for a different show.
Yeah.
But that's unbelievable. But it wasn't just you then. Other actors would.
Yeah, I heard of a couple other actors who did that just to get them all flushed and kind of feeling, good.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Although I would assume if a guy did.
Oh, I didn't hear it, but any guys really do it.
Yeah, a guy would probably not want to get too hot and bothered.
Yeah,
for
right.
obvious reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
The girl wants to look like, love in the afternoon.
Right.
Sure.
That is great. Oh my God. I hope you're taking notes.
Oh.
Although you're too cold inside to ever do a love scene.
Oh gosh, I don't. I am
done a love
cold
scene?
inside.
you should
No love scenes. I have said, especially with acting, I don't want to do nudity because my father is still alive. But it would have to be for the right role. I'm really, peer pressure always gets me, where if it's like for enough money and if it's a story I really believe in, then maybe. But especially these days with intimacy coordinators now on set.
Yeah, we didn't have those back in the day when I did love scenes, and I was like 17, I guess I was.
Seriously?
Yeah, and then so we just kind of like went at it, like.
Yeah.
Well, because you both have eyes, you can see that I'm a good amount older than you are. So Boy Meets World was a little before my time, but I did see a lot of clips doing my prep. And they had you pretty scantily clad at that age.
Always.
A lot of those things. I was very surprised by this Disney show doing this.
It was weird especially when I was writing the book, but I thought about this before. Like, looking back on the episodes, I was always like the butt of a sexual joke, like literally the butt of a sexual joke. And all these episodes had all of these sexual innuendos that were under the surface. Like one time I was choking on a hot dog and Jack, Matt Lawrence was like behind me, like trying to give me the Heimlich maneuver, but it looked very, very suspicious.
Do we even call that suggestive? I don't even know if it's that much that. I mean, this is, wow. That would just not happen now.
I know. It would not. Imagine then an intimacy coordinator on set being like, okay, the hot dog needs to go 1 more inch further.
Yeah. No.
Are you comfortable with having 2 hands? Like, how does that even work? It's crazy. Although, you know what? I did see a clip recently of the episode where you're in like a little purple negligee. Yes. Although, to today's standards, it wasn't that risque.
Well, that's
so young.
But back then, and being that it was sort of like a family TV show, I think it's more your point.
And that's what I talk about in the book, though. Behind the scenes, I had to try on all the lingerie in front of all the producers, and they ended up with that one, which I'm dancing around, and the guys are like, like.
How would they justify that? So I'm just picturing a team of older dudes with sunglasses, ties, and cigars.
Oh, well, they weren't so old. They were in their 40s and stuff, I guess. But
so very young. Barely of age.
It seemed old to me back then. But there was a big group of them, and the AD would take me upstairs. We have to get the right lingerie for this episode. It can't be too much or too little. So I try on all of them, the skimpy ones, and then the other one. Yeah, and they had me walk up there 3 times on different days. Like, they had to get it right.
Polaroids back then too. Yes. They could have just done that.
I know.
But man, just parading you around.
Well, and just even also forget about the parading around thing. Like, we got to get the right sexy lingerie for this children's Disney show. I mean, even that alone is suspect.
I know.
But,
I will say, though, with your character, and also, I think the actress's name is Trina?
Yes, Trina.
Played Angela.
Yes.
Typically, when a show is on for that many seasons and I'm watching it, I usually don't like when they bring in more characters.
Right.
Then there's a shift in dynamics and chemistry. Sometimes it feels like they're grasping at straws because they know they're toward the end of a series. But I think that you two were really great additions. Also because, it was about growing up, these characters, throughout school, going into college. And so kudos to you, because it's not easy to go into a show that's already so established.
They were so established. I think it helped because it was going into the college years. Like you said, we were growing up. So it was moving away from high school and all, they were, growing up. So I got to just come in and be with Eric and Jack and stuff. And that dynamic, they needed a girl for that dynamic because they were just the two of them kind of in the apartment before. Yeah. And they thought, okay, we need to bring in, a girl that has to be kind of spicy and I guess sex things up a little bit.
And then also in some ways you were sort of the Woody. Cheers-wise to that of Boy Meets World, which I think is a compliment as well.
I have never heard
There you go. Yeah,
I am going to use that forever.
And then Woody Harrelson makes it better when he comes into Cheers. We used to work at Lad Mags, Maxim Stuff, what have you, when magazines used to exist. And I had a column called 6 Degrees of Penetration. And it was this. It was you had a star, and then you had who that star slept with. Couple of people, and then who would go on and on and on. You guys have a figurative one, you two, and in the sense that it's someone that neither of you have either actually hooked up with, but that you acted with and has hit on her.
Oh, okay.
And I'll let Joanne continue with this because I love the story.
I can tell you the full details after the fact, but it was back when I was working at Fox
Only
News
on our
Channel.
Patreon.
Back when I was on a show, Red Eye, on Fox News Channel.
Okay.
And I noticed that Ben Savage was liking my Instagram photos. And I was like, that's so weird. How would he know who I am? And then I saw he had a degree in political science, and I was like, oh, he probably watches these shows. Well, he was going to be in New York promoting Girl Meets World. This was many years ago.
Okay.
And I thought it would be such a great get to have him on the show, to promote his, whatever. And I reached out. And we met up. It was supposed to be for coffee, ended up being for drinks.
Oh, I can see that
But
about Ben. I can see that about Ben. Yes.
At the time, I had a boyfriend, and I brought our booker. Because I was like, I'm going to keep this above board, be totally professional.
I can hear in his
Well,
head.
at this bar,
Right, when you come
he
into the
is
bar with it.
just blocking out the booker.
Oh my God, yes.
He tells me I have the same name as his mother. He goes on about very random, interesting stories. He was very sweet, very nice. But at the end of it all, I'm like, so can you come on? He's like, oh yeah, ABC won't let me do that. So it was like, it was never going to happen.
Oh my God.
So, but anyways, it's a fun story.
I one time
now.
heard that he, she's a director, he asked her to ride the bull at this country place in LA. Like,
This guy's got interesting
yeah,
eyes.
he used to always come up to me, and it was so much in like a little brother kind of way, or a stepbrother, I guess.
Oh, I've seen that category.
Yeah, I know. I won't say, but he would always be like, "What kind of sexual things are you doing now? What are your dates like?" And I would always tease him. But I took Polaroids of my lingerie because I was in lingerie a lot, and I would put them up on his door and he had this Vanilla Ice poster on his door, and he'd go, "Oh, you drive me crazy." He just,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, he hits on everybody. Like he's like really any pretty girls, he's like there.
I feel so honored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in good
special
company.
are ya? Was he the one? You were listening to the podcast, right? Was he the one that refused to go on or something?
As far as I know, not refused. He just was not interested. And
Was it right around when like bad things were coming out about Fred or something? Or?
no, this was an idea, the Boy Meets World podcast.
Oh yeah, they're doing that now. Yeah.
That it was an idea that these three, Danielle, Will, and Ryder,
Yeah.
had for many years, even before COVID started. And they just kind of made it really, they were blunt, that they were like, Ben just did not want to be a part of it. Maybe he'll be a guest on at some point, I don't know. But
I don't know if he will. I think he
really?
really wants to be like away from it. Like, and he's running for a councilman in West Hollywood.
Using that
Yes,
major.
he's
Interesting.
using that major. All of a sudden, he was running. I'm like, what? Like everything wild is happening with the Boy Meets World cast now.
Oh my God, he's going to be the next Governor Schwarzenegger. That is amazing. Well, you both knew him way back when. Well, all right. What have been the highs and lows as far as promoting the book is concerned?
Highs and lows. Well, it's fun talking to like people like you and like going around getting reaction from people. And I loved like getting reaction, especially like from women who can get something from the story. Like people might think, oh, it's just this, salacious, piece on porn that's going to, talk about how bad the industry is or how, I was on drugs or crazy and I had to desperate for money and stuff. But really, I think it's a story of like hope and like saying when people tell you can't do something, like I was told for so many years by Hollywood, I can't play the roles I want to play. I can't be sexy past the age of 25. I can't I have to stay in that box I was in when I was on Boy Meets World.
Right.
Yeah, and so finally I said, forget it. I'm going to just start posting my stuff that I like to do. And I grew an audience and I started selling content. And then it totally blew up. And
well, yeah, and the thing that I found fascinating and almost like shame on me for just sort of picturing adult actresses being like in the same box.
Right.
Like sort of like you said, was it a drug thing or a trauma thing
Right.
to later in life kind of get into it all.
Right.
But it's really, you just enjoy it.
Yeah.
You're a sexual person who really, it is empowering for you and you're creating your own content and using your skills as an actress.
Yes.
And doing what you love. And it was a really cool new way to kind of look at the industry and the women in it.
Oh, I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I really think, people get an idea about what porn is, and it's like, it's very different from what you think it is. Not that stereotypical, like, old guy, like, smoking a cigarette, watching a drug orgy and stuff, and like this CD studio. It's run very much like Hollywood productions. Like,
Yeah.
I was traumatized by some of the plot lines in The Bold and the Beautiful. Good
I
Lord.
had everything bad happen to me.
All right, here's an example. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your on-air rapist would poke holes in your condoms, threw gasoline on you in order to make you some sort of daytime Joan of Arc, I guess. But again, and then off-air, this guy ended up being your dearest friend.
Yes.
And the guy that played the boyfriend ended
Yes.
up being a sketchy.
Just
Yes.
creepy.
Yeah.
Dylan Neal, who he went on to be in the Gourmet Detective on Hallmark Channel, and like,
Love that.
I love those movies.
Yes, don't watch that one.
No, but I mean, you get very honest about people. There's a few people you don't name,
yes, I specifically don't. Yes,
but you
Will today.
you are honest, and I think that's great because, as you should, you shouldn't protect people when they show their true character.
and I figured like people, especially who are in the public eye, I can't hide who they were. I can't say my co-star, Joe Schmo or something.
Yeah.
Right.
People know who that person was.
Yeah.
So I tried to be very, very honest about it because it is my story, and I just wanted everybody to see like the authentic version of me. But yeah, a few people I did protect, especially like if they're not in the public eye, if they're not, or if they would get, it would really like I guess make them very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Some
yeah,
people
and
I like to make uncomfortable.
I think one thing I learned relatively late in life, because I've had friends that have written memoirs, is that even if you change a name, you use a pseudonym, if the actions with that pseudonym are so identifiable, then you're still going to have legal issues, which blew my mind. I thought if you rearrange the words a little bit,
Yeah.
then you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But that is not the case, apparently. Was there a lot of back and forth as far as that is concerned?
You have to go through legal, like to say, like, well, I think though it's hard to if you don't defame them completely. Like if you're saying that I felt like this because it is my story, so I felt this situation was happening. I'm not stating the facts for them because they might have a different story.
It's
But
like this is my perception.
this is my perception of everything that happened. So that's really how you get around it. But I think most people, like most of the stories, like if I didn't name them, but the details were there and everything, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll be in court next week.
Hey, well then, you know what? You use that lawsuit for a sequel.
Exactly.
You know?
More sales
Take
and
back the
attention.
night. It'll be more of an LA Law version.
Yeah.
Part two.
Take back the night.
But speaking of your soap work, you were told once your character was going through all of this, the rape, the gasoline, that
The rape, the gasoline.
The actual title of that episode.
this was like a
Rape,
big
the
moment.
gasoline.
This is what people get nominated for.
Yes.
Like this is legit.
Yeah.
But then shortly after that, they canned you.
I know. And it was weird because after I lost my virginity on the show to Dylan on the show, which was an interesting experience in itself.
Everyone was named Dylan back then.
Everyone.
Truly.
And they named his character Dylan after him. So yeah. But I was Jessica. But anyway, so after that they did a lot of bad stuff to me. And like you were saying all this stuff. First of all, and you didn't mention the diabetic coma where my mother was having sex with Dylan.
Oh, right.
And
Look, because that's just an old trope.
That's an old
We've
trope.
all been through that.
yeah, exactly.
Discovering the diabetes is maybe the best part.
And it was
She's a diabetic. It's so great.
Trying to get that Wilford Brimley money capitalized, too. I see what
oh
you're
my
doing.
God, yeah. But yeah, no, it was interesting. Then everything bad happened to me, like you stated, and then it was they were done. We don't want to see bad anymore. Like,
Yeah.
go away to college.
They're almost like, we went a little too far.
yeah, right.
That might have been it.
I think the audience is a little like, yeah.
Yeah, you desensitized them to just anything awful that could possibly happen to a person.
Right.
Unbelievable. Well, and was there anything that you found that was refreshing as far as the adult industry was concerned versus soap operas?
You know,
That surprised
it's
people?
funny. The soap industry is a lot like the adult industry.
I love it.
They're it's so similar. It's a tight knit little world because it's it's off the beaten path of Hollywood, mainstream Hollywood, I guess. And it has very big personalities and different personalities, and we all work in the same community. People will jump from show to show, or we go different studios or whatever, and it's interesting. And we do a lot of sex scenes and stuff, and we just in porn, you just go all the way.
Yeah.
A good buddy of mine, and I should know this, but again, I'm not as much of a porn. I am a porn aficionado, but not as much of a soap opera aficionado. Sean Kanan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've had him on a bunch.
He's been on a lot, and he's bounced around from a bunch of shows for that.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do. And then, so it's an interesting, I think from the adult perspective, I really think I didn't know it would be such a light, fun environment when you go into studio and stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah, especially if you have good people you're working with. And I've been lucky. I get to kind of pick and choose who I really want to work with, the really talented people. And so, it's a lot of fun, and it's an adventure each time, I think. But it's very, everybody thinks that, everybody's dirty, and it's like you have this, STDs everywhere. We have to test every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, and something you mentioned in your book, and I think we knew because we've had other adult actresses on here talking about it, is the fact that with COVID, porn sets were some of the first to come back.
Yes.
Because they understood the regimen of testing and how to keep sets safe, while mainstream Hollywood couldn't figure it out.
They were I remember that. We had to test every single day to make this big feature that we did. That was a huge production, and they set us in a penthouse in downtown LA, and everybody would have to just come there every day. And they had contracts for people who they would only work on that production during that time, because to keep it safe. And then every morning we would test for COVID, no matter if you were working that day or not. So it was really, but we did have the protocol, and nobody got sick. We had it, and we got the production done
completely. It makes total sense.
Are you part of a union? Because I know SAG is for mainstream. Is there a similar thing?
There is a union, but it's not similar in the fact that you have to pay dues and have to be a part of it in order to. There's something that overlooks it, oversees it a little bit, but it's not the same as SAG, where you have to pay your dues. You have to, only dues SAG Productions and that. So I really wish that there would be even more focus put on the union in adult, because I think
you would think,
because to protect especially younger girls who are coming into the industry, and who maybe aren't working with the top companies like I do. I'm a lucky person. I got with the top company, and I'm doing big feature films and stuff. But just like in Hollywood, the more skeezy producers or whoever might lure some girls in or something.
Sure. Some of those indie films.
Yeah, I know, seriously, and some those photographers and stuff in mainstream and
you've gotten almost as many awards as you've done scenes.
People
are not aware of the fact that you actually do very few of these, and it really, your hardware has hardware. You must have a garage full of this.
Right. Where do you keep all your?
I have a whole shelf in my house, and I have them all there, and that is funny. Yeah, I think I do. I think I have the biggest per scene award average of anybody.
It's true. Oh,
I have
seriously?
to check on that, but I really think so.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. It's unbelievable.
I am sure there's a website that already has counted all of that.
Oh, without a doubt.
Now, I know a lot of actors refuse to watch themselves back.
Oh, yeah.
Is this something you did back in the day? Is it something you currently do now? Do you find it helpful or hurtful?
I kind of find it helpful to watch, to see what I do right and wrong, see my blowjob angles. No, but also the acting wise, just to see how I played it and everything. I always watch, but I always watch kind of like this.
Sure.
With a closed eye.
Well, I went from liking to loving you. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read that, or maybe listened. I'm illiterate. I listened to one of the first chapters that you gave your editor was anal prep.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. I was like, that is.
It was
You might as well show them right there and then. Here's what you're in for. This is it.
Yeah, and I think that's what really sold it to them in the beginning. I was like, it was a big thing for me, to do
I think it's for every woman, yeah.
my first anal with, a porn-sized manhood.
Seriously?
But yeah, there's a whole thing about cleaning out and stuff.
I had no idea.
And all these girls gave me different advice. One told me, okay, eat corn and then see how long it takes to
so
get through.
counterproductive.
Yeah, I know. It was, but you know what I just.
Weeks ahead of time, though.
Then the people don't eat for 24 hours, and they just But I discovered I am very good at anal clean out and anal because.
I always do that about you.
I think I have a big canal. I don't know, but I was told that. But anyway, basically, I do an enema and to wash out with warm water.
I figured was a thing.
In the morning,
Yeah.
wash out with water for warm water the rest of the day, and good to go. Seriously.
The fact that there's a service element already in this book for first timers out there.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to do anal, I tell you everything you need to know.
Oh, she sure does.
I now empathize for any and all that have participated in this act, because I did not realize how much goes into it.
Well, yeah.
Well, and the thing I liked about that chapter, too, was how close all the women are.
Yes.
And how you can go to each other and really ask for advice, and people with their expertise will help others who haven't. Mm-hmm. And It's unfortunate that, I don't really discuss sex or a lot of things with my girlfriends. I think it depends on the kind of relationships you have with people. But I do like this idea of women just getting rid of the taboos or the competition and just being like, well, let's help a sister out.
Yeah, right.
Like I've been there, you haven't yet, let me guide you.
Yeah, I think people don't realize, porn is kind of like a safe haven for a lot of people who go into the industry because a lot of people think maybe they're other than or they're different and they like to sexually perform, but the outside world will judge them for that. But yeah, there's a very tight-knit community of people that help each other and are like a family. So, but then the problem is when people quit the industry and they go into the real world, so to speak, that's when a lot of problems could happen because people have stigmas against them and everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is. There's a lot. People help each other out. Women help each other out. I mean, literally, we'll dig out sponges on your period.
That's amazing. I've done that with some of my buddies before. If they actually accidentally sit on a sponge. But now, all right. So, explain sort of how your relationship with your husband evolved. The rules that you had with regards to what you could and could not do in the industry.
Which, by the way, most supportive husband award.
Yes.
No
If anyone
kidding.
deserves another award.
Seriously.
Him.
How did that all go down?
Well, it was a long process and stuff. I was really, it's funny, when I got married and we moved to New York for a while, and it was kind of like I got a breath of fresh air away from the Hollywood scene and where, God, you're just always like in competition with everyone and like thinking, like, what audition are you getting? What, what party are you going to? Everything like that. So I was really able to start really exploring my sexuality, which is I think it's because I had a really strong anchor at home. And then I was kind of like, just like I started writing like erotic fiction, and I started really thinking about like who I was as a person sexually. And he really recognized a lot of things in me. He saw, at first he was like, I know you like girls. And I think he was very encouraging for me to, explore that side of myself.
I'm encouraging of it too.
Yeah, I know. See, that wasn't that wasn't a huge leap for a lot of guys. That's not the huge leap.
Yeah.
So that went on for a while, but and then when I started like doing my content, I did girl stuff and I was like kind of playing around, but then it got to the point where I was having all these fantasies about doing things that you can't normally do in like, usually in a intimate bedroom, like, like big dungeon things and like, big group things and all sorts of like acrobatic stuff and fantasies. And so he saw that I really was like, I was impassioned by it because I loved performing with the girls and I was like having fun and I was in front of the camera doing what I love. And so he came to me and he says, I really think you need to do this. You need to have Guy. And so
He is a real hero. Forget about those first responders.
Oh, no.
All right, they're a close second. Who would be your favorite co-star?
It's hard to say. I would say the guys, I have 3 guys that I really love.
I don't care about the guys. I'm talking about the girls.
Girls.
Yeah.
I'll say Caden Cross, who is my director, who is also an amazing performer.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I'll say that.
What makes her so good?
Well,
Aside
I
from
think
the overall.
Yeah,
of course,
well,
but-
she's a total professional, but I think we really have a connection, and we know each other so well. So when we did a scene together, it was just so much fun because we could really, just play off of each other. It's not like you're just meeting somebody for the first time, or it was very intimate and it was good. It was really nice, and so whenever we do stuff like that, it's really fun.
Have you dabbled in directing at all? Are you interested?
They haven't come out yet, but I just wrote a couple of scenes for the brands at Vixen and also co-directed them, and now they're coming out later, but I am starting to think about directing. She's really encouraged me to do that. First, I hadn't thought about it because it wasn't really my thing. Like acting and writing was my thing, and I didn't know if I could, set up the shots and artistically make it look good and all the technical aspects of it. But she's really been encouraging that, you have a team behind you. You have a cinematographer and like, all the people that are like work on the crew and stuff who really help you out with that. So, and she has helped me to like teach me tricks and stuff to make, scenes beautiful and just unique and stuff. So yeah, I think I really will try to do that coming up.
I wish I was good at something. But that's not for now. But by the way, we haven't even talked about merchandising yet. It seems now you think it's kind of obvious, but it's so brilliant, and of course it finally has been. You're marketing something called Toy Meets World.
Yes, my fleshlights. I have two.
I likes me a good pun.
That's great.
Amazing.
I can't take credit for that. The people at Fleshlight came up with the titles.
Not too shabby.
Toy Meets World is my vagina, and Tight Chicks is my asshole. So.
Oh,
right,
man.
because you
Just in
were in
time
the
for
film
Christmas.
White Chicks, yes.
Well, and I found out recently it is from our old friend at Angry Dango.
Oh, okay.
AKA David on Twitter. He sent us this unsolicited yesterday, just in time, but I can tell you that this is a far less superior product. It on the surface looks like a weird Chinese beer. And then, of course, it didn't take us long. I thought the thing was going to pop out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The lips.
They're lips.
Yeah.
And by the way, this one,
those
I
lips,
had
the
to
other
tell
lips.
her that this was a mouth.
No,
Apparently, you don't even know what a vagina looks
I said
like.
it looks like lips.
You weren't clear at the beginning, but even this far away, and you can kind of make them talk like this. I'm not as clever as Toy Meets World. Oh, but this one is not a superior product. I mean, obviously, I have to ask, what goes in to getting a mold of your vagina turned into a
It's in the book.
It's in the book. I told.
Yeah.
It's a very
details.
weird. It's like a weird gynecological yet not that unpleasant experience. They do like this. I don't know what it's this plaster stuff that they put on you, and it's warm. And they make you though masturbate with a Hitachi a little bit before.
Why is
get
that?
to get
I apologize I didn't read this chapter. I was skimming because, again, I'm very illiterate. She read the whole thing. But why would they do that?
Because they want you to be welcoming.
Oh, I see.
You don't want to be like, hey, you want to be
Right.
flowery and open. But they told you, they'd say, don't come. Don't have it be ready. So you do that and you're just, So then they mold you and then they also stick this wand thing up you to get all the crevices and all the everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's a whole process.
How long does it take?
It took several hours just to.
You're just lying there?
Yeah, you're lying up. I was lying on a bed, like just in a Las Vegas suite. It was not terrible. They bring me stuff.
People have done a lot worse in a Las Vegas.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. I assume the same thing for the other end as well?
Yeah, pretty much so. Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. God, I am learning more right now than I have.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
But speaking of fans, since Bill got that from a fan, it sounds like your fan base is so incredible and so sweet and supportive. But I do want to chat a little bit about the people who don't understand boundaries. Have you had any issues with people who maybe got a little scary in terms of them believing that you know each other or you're more than just fan and star? Have you had to deal with any of that?
You know what? I haven't as much as some of the other girls have to. It especially happens like when we go to big conventions and stuff. Like people will come up and just want to touch and grab and stuff.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's because I come from a different background. I think they are a little more. They don't. I don't know. They don't do that as much.
Yeah.
And
Knock wood.
yeah, knock on wood. I know. Here. I'll be out of the street and they'll be like grabbing at me or whatever. But I do have really great fans who are super supportive and they're super, they're just nice. They're not creepy about stuff usually, but you always get those trolls and like people who will try to touch you and stuff. But
I was going to say, that's good to hear that the overall is safe because I don't even know if I should mention this, but yesterday as I was leaving the studio, a guy bumps up to me and starts talking to me as if I know him.
well, they do that. So they talk to you like that.
Oh, it wasn't for me.
Oh.
And he finally goes, so Maitland's on today? I'm like, no, tomorrow. And then right when that came out of my mouth, I'm like, why did I say that? Why did I say that? But he is not here, thank God. But
Oh, but I had
he seemed nice.
Yeah, no, they're usually nice. They're especially they come up and they want to take a picture. I take pictures and I take, all that. Like I'm very
minute
friendly.
I said yes
Say hello if you see
tomorrow.
me.
I should have said no. It's the day before.
Just Mister.
He's already doing a tour in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
But yeah,
Weird thing is fans that are the real trolls are the ones that get catfished by people who are pretending to be me or pretend to be other porn stars.
Wow.
And they give them so much money, like these catfishers, like convince them to do that. And then they come and yell at me and say on Twitter and like, you stole my money and you did all this stuff. And I'm like, I have never spoken to you in my life.
That sucks.
I know, and it happens more than once. It's like, it's.
Are any of these people getting caught? Or I would guess it's probably hard to.
I don't, it's kind of hard. I think they might come from other countries or and they tell them, give me your Google gift cards and I was like, why would I ask you to pay my bills with Google gift cards?
Although I'm not against it.
I'm not against it either, but I don't have to pay my mortgage with it or whatever.
Yeah, no kidding. They're hard to transfer.
As you've sort of transitioned throughout your career, you've done a really good job of still sort of staying mainstream a bit. Have you found your mainstream friends to kind of stay with you through this journey, or have there been people who have been like, I'm sorry, we're going to separate ways at this point?
You know what? There have been ones I haven't had one that like actually calls me out and says that. There's been people who like ice me out and I can tell.
Sure.
But I think more at the beginning when my announcement was like first made and everybody thought it was a sudden announcement that I was just going into porn, all of it, you know, when it had been such a process when I was doing my content and I had been working up to it. But when it was announced like I was doing my first porn feature and it was going to be this professional big deal, I think people were shocked and they thought, oh my God, she's crazy. She's on drugs. What is she doing like that? But as it evolved along the way and I started, you know, getting such success and winning awards and being like, you know, doing things, and I started getting more, you know, respect from people and they started like coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
I got that reaction when I worked at cable news as far as the whole he's crazy and he's on drugs thing, and they were totally right. Oh man, non-disclosure agreements. But and like, was that a majority?
no, I wouldn't say. I'd say actually I've been surprised at how much support I have gotten from people that I've known. And like even my friends from school and people that I like,
a different world now.
family and like people like distant like cousins in the, you know, they're very supportive. And like when I, you know, announced my book, like people I thought would never be supportive of this were like, you go, I'm so proud of you. You're having such an impact and you're really, you know, changing things and ending like stigmas and stuff.
It really has changed a lot as far as people's perception of all of that. And of course, the big game changer, and I hate the fact that I just used the cliche game changer, has been OnlyFans.
Yes.
And we have a regular on our show who is in the adult industry. And she's not a huge fan of OnlyFans. And in her words, it's because the market is now so flooded that it is very difficult for people in the adult movie business to make a huge amount of money on that format. Because long-winded way, like we've got a lot of female comedians that, particularly during COVID, they got an OnlyFans thing and they made a bank on that. And it's certainly not just them. Anyone can do this, and so it is a very. But I guess the cream rises to the top.
I think that's kind of it too. And I think during COVID, it was people just flying into OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So I think that was tough. I'm in a different circumstance, I think, because I think they subscribe to me for a different reason. Like, you know, they're not just like searching the OnlyFans to see what the hottest like lingerie girl is or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is kind of. Peeling off of the people who just came in during COVID, like, you know, nurses and teachers and stuff, like, or anybody who just came in and said, I'm just going to make some money on it. Because you can't have real lasting power with it if you don't work for it and, like, really, you know, be professional with your content and stuff. Because maybe they were just coming in. And also people went back to work more, so they weren't able to be on OnlyFans as much. So you have to be a little more committed to the person that you like in order to, you know, make money. So if they hadn't already established a big career in it or whatever, it's hard to keep people on.
You did mention in your book how during the pandemic, you would get requests for videos that were not what you expected. It was more about the girlfriend experience and people wanting a different kind of intimacy that they were lacking. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it did surprise me because usually it's like sexual content that they ask for. And this was sexy, but I would get requests like, just pretend like we're meeting at a bar, smoke a cigarette, and like say, you know, flash me a little and say we're going to go up to the hotel room, you know, or say, they just wanted to like have that meeting experience and that dating experience again. So it was actually kind of fun to do those kind of things because I could just talk and dirty talk and like do all this stuff. That's like, I have a lot of people who like to see the dirty talk or hear the dirty talk.
Cliche question, but I have to ask anyway. What oddest request?
Oddest request? Oh, that's a really hard one.
Good.
A hard one.
Afterwards.
I don't know. I think everybody's requests are kind of odd, but not everybody's requests. But there are certain like people that like certain specific things, like just close-ups of my armpit or like.
That's a big thing now.
It's a big thing though.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to shame anybody. I think that's fine. I didn't know when I started doing it that was a big thing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would get too many odd requests. I mean, I think people are pretty straightforward, and I am open to a lot of different things, so I'm not going to be like, oh, you're so weird or whatever. I think it's cool if it's their thing and it's safe and consensual. And
do you say no to certain things?
yeah, I will say. Oh yeah, and I actually heard this from another porn performer. Some people will like to be terribly shamed, or they'll like racist slurs like thrown at them. They like get off on that. But if you do a video like that, like I wouldn't do that.
Oh my God!
But if
you're fucked.
they'll get it out there and you look like you're the biggest racist. A porn performer told me that he was, requested of that, and he was like, no.
Yeah.
Even though they like it, but it's terrible.
Yeah.
So that's probably the worst requests.
Where did the stepbrother stepsister thing come from?
I don't know.
10 years ago, that it is like now that's all Pornhub is.
Yeah.
And like 10 years ago, just not even a thing.
Yeah.
Like I would assume there must have been some sort of like national thing that occurred that all of a sudden got people thinking about pseudo incest, but it just all of a sudden blew up.
Yes.
And
I don't know. I really don't know. People said somehow, like in the pandemic, it got even more popular because people were with their families.
oh my God.
I did not come up with that on my own. Somebody told me that, like it got more popular.
That's hilarious.
So they figured like, oh, let's do in-home thing. I know. I don't understand that. I've never done the stepbrother, stepsister thing. Well, I
You are
haven't.
very much of the minority. I think you're the only one that has.
Most of my characters that I play are not. I don't think they'd have children. They just eat their children because I'm so. I don't think she should be a mother on my
my
scenes.
kind of character.
So in the past, we have actually referenced you a bunch. We'll often do stories
Yes.
about OnlyFans or sex work or whatever the topic might be, and it's always TMZ or someone else gets your reaction.
Oh, yeah.
And in a way,
you're a good soundbite.
you've kind of become a spokesperson for the industry. Did you kind of fall into that? Are you happy to do it? Is there more work you want to do with visibility or?
Yeah. Oh, I'm very happy to do it. And you know what? The press has been so good to me by giving me a platform a lot of times. And I do like I'm sure other people like run away from it and they don't want to talk. But I'm there for you. I'll say what I want to say about the adult industry. And so I guess I kind of did fall into it, but I'm very happy to do it. And then I would love to do more. Like I was talking about, there's this like movement of it's supposedly feminists where they're trying to get rid of all sexual content and they're supposed to like these activists, and I'd love to go up against one of those.
I would love to watch that.
Let's take it in the ring.
That would be the kind of cable news show I would actually watch.
I would love to do that. I would
like.
love it. I would love to debate them, right? Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And then we could wrestle afterwards.
Oh man, now we're getting into plot lines. Well, and also, okay, so and with the relationship with your husband, push comes to shove, prefer threesomes with another guy or another woman, as far as your
Well, with another
relationship?
woman, but he doesn't do anything. Like he's
He's sort of a sideline guy a little bit.
yeah, he's very happy to see me. I think he really likes me being a sexual person and seeing that. He's not a cuck. He's not he's not into.
Yeah, you kept.
But he would watch me and Girl. Yeah, he'd like to watch me and a girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's breathing,
Yeah.
he lives.
Yeah,
and
so
there's a human
he's
being
done
on
that
this
plenty of
planet.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's not like, he would be nowhere in sexual performance or doing anything like that. But yeah, he's a very like monogamous guy. It just is.
And what I love about your relationship that you mentioned in the book, at first you were hesitant to marriage
Yes.
because of your idea of what marriage was, the white picket fence, the settling down, and for a while I was the same. I just recently got engaged.
Oh, look how pretty your ring is.
And we were dating for 7 years.
Yeah, we were dating for a long time.
So, and it's this idea of, well, a marriage can be whatever you want it
Right.
to be.
Right.
And I don't know why. I think you were raised pretty conservatively,
Right.
as was I. And so I think it was that idea of what's expected of a wife and
Right.
and the roles that you
Right.
have to fit into.
Right.
but you write your own story and
Right.
it's
And
your own relationship.
Yeah. That's so important for so many couples to know. I think the divorce rate is so high, or people aren't getting married because they think that, we have to do it a certain way, and then people become unhappy and they can't talk to each other. I think it's so important to grow and change in a relationship too, and do it your own way, because when you start off, it might be different later, but if you can both bend to that and understand each other and really support each other, I think that's really key, and that's so true. Everybody should be able to write their own relationship and not worry about what the outside world thinks, but I know that's really hard because...
Well, and that is great advice. Do you have any other advice for me for what we're going into a marriage? Do you have any, is there anything you do to, I don't know, keep things exciting or peaceful or... No. It doesn't have to be sexually. I mean, just like anything in a marriage.
If you can have separate bathroom spaces and closet spaces, that's good.
We do have separate closets. So
I think always keeping it where you do have date nights and you do have time where you spend together, because I think, once you get into the marriage, it can be, get stale, if you don't keep mixing it up and stuff. So, and try new things in the bedroom. Read the anal chapter.
Read it 3 times.
3 times.
We went to a show. It was a gay comedy show, and they were auctioning off a bag of sex toys. Oh. And my fiance won the bag of sex toys.
Oh,
it is now sitting under my nightstand, just looking at me.
That's okay.
And I am as vanilla as they come.
Oh, so you got to mix that up.
So I am I don't know. This is it's haunting me. I don't know what to do.
Oh, you have to try the sex
that
toys.
haunts you rather than the rest of your life with one person. That's what would haunt me.
Again, I like vanilla.
Oh, that thing is just... the whole bag is just going to collect dust.
Oh, but if you change as a person, then it becomes a new experience.
Yeah, that's true.
As part of acting. I got another cliche one, but again, I have to ask. Orgasms.
Yes.
Be honest. What's the ratio of fake to actually real on camera from your end? I know it's different with everyone.
I would say most of them are real.
Really?
Because these guys know what they're doing, and some of the girls are really good.
Well, that's the other part of that question.
Yeah.
Who is more likely to get you there, a woman or a man?
Oh, it depends. It's the energy that they give off. It's not necessarily all the moves they make. I love somebody who's dynamic and can just if I give something, because I'm pretty intense in my scenes. My stuff is I'm in your face like this. If they can come back at me, it's so hot. And we can just have this kind of dance off, or this kind of tango or something. That's really hot to me. That is really, when somebody is just sitting there and they're not doing anything, it's so I haven't had a lot of that because I usually pick my scene partners along the way. So, so that's good. But, maybe some content people were kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, that answer right there is why you've got an entire storage unit full of awards. Joe, you get the last question.
Oh my gosh.
So the pressure is on you. Even more marriage-related stuff. I'm learning things about that institution.
What's next for you? Is there anything new? Is there a second book? Have they already asked you to do that? Or
I am planning on doing a second book, and I'm working out exactly what I want to do with that. I'm in the very infant stages right now because I'm just on the tour.
Well, I'll tell you
Once I'm done with the tour, I'm really going to sit down.
If you want to do that chicklet, I would be down.
I would, No, I
yeah, she's a fan.
It really would be fun to write, since I did so much erotic fiction. Yeah, erotic chick, at least, something, a little dangerous, so to inspire the women.
Well,
and the men.
It seems like things are already in the works, but I mean, the book you got now is a goddamn movie. Where are we at?
I know.
With that?
I am looking at selling the rights to that.
I think that's a gimme.
It's funny because I took screenwriting. Several people have said it seems like a movie how it follows a path. It's because I took screenwriting for 2 years, and I think it's just in my brain to write like that.
Oh my God! Of course, it's in your life.
Yeah, so it's I'm writing scene setups and stuff and how it flows or whatever.
I think that's a gimme.
Yeah.
And wow, very exciting. I watched the hell out of that. Well, thank you so much, man. We were so looking forward to this.
This was great.
Thank you. It was so nice seeing you.
This was an absolute blast and a perfect show. So I'm going to show you. Here's how we ruin every show.
You ruin the... Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm the talent. Ready? Here's how we do it.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Ben Savage once told me I could maybe play a teacher on Girl Meets World. That didn't happen. Thanks Thanks, Ben.
I think you know why it didn't happen.
I know. Although, let me tell you, my fiance has said, let people think you'll sleep with them. Just don't do it.
I got enemies, gotta